Good afternoon. Continuing on with our series, our sub-series, I guess I should say, on foundational leadership characteristics and traits. And this is a bunch of one-liners here that I'm going to go through. And they're little tidbits that I've lived with for a long time. I think they provide tremendous value, and it can be, drawn on, whenever you need them. So here we go. Some management one-liners. Know your management parameters. Now, what does that mean? Now, I'm looking at it if you're in a corporate environment and someone hires you and you have a leadership role over a group. It also applies to anytime you're reporting to somebody else. This set probably not quite so much if you're the CEO or you are the business leader because you are the guy at the top already, right? Okay. Know what is expected of you. When you're hired to fill a role, know what your job is. Now, this may sound very elementary, but I'm telling you, too many times, managers and leaders are promoted, but they don't know the whole picture. So make sure you ask that question. What is expected of you? Number two, just as important, what is not expected of you? There's no reason to go into areas where you don't have to go. And I had this experience, to be honest. I was over in Europe for 5 years. And over there, we were doing new things and in new countries. And, we took a lot of responsibilities. We had to. Everything's happening at one time, right? Well, one time I took that a little bit too far and had a conversation with the guy I reported to. And he came to me and he said, something got goofed up a little bit, right? We got it fixed, but still. He said, Steve, we didn't ask you to do that. The management team will support you. You don't have to do anything on your own. And it was an interesting conversation and something that was encouraging for me, right? That the management team was great about UPS. The management team worked together and got things done. Nobody had to be out there on their own, which then brings up the next bullet. There should be no lone rangers. Nobody should be out there fully on their own. There are lots of people around to help supply support. Here's another one. It's called Keep Up the Conversation. That is a fellowship type of thing. And people are relational people, right? If we live in a silo and don't talk to anybody outside of our workspace, that's all we know. Yet there are times when I need the help of other people. And you can keep those opportunities open for you if you engage in fellowship and spend time talking with the other management people around you. Here's one that I think people forget once in a while, and that is make the person you report to successful. Because let's get down to the nitty gritty. You are put into place to accomplish a task, and the person you report to is responsible for you. And sometimes this happens. Human nature trips us up. And all of a sudden, we get a bad attitude towards the person we're reporting to. Do you know that even in those cases, we have to remember our job is to make them successful. So keep that in mind. Don't forget that. And on the same side, work yourself out of a job. That's a true sign of a good leader. Somebody that goes to the extent and the work necessary to replace themselves. Because after all, if you train your replacement, that means you're available for something greater, right? Work yourself out of a job. Do not burn bridges. I've had this happen more than once, where somebody reported to somebody and down the road a ways, for whatever the reason, the relationship flipped. This happened to me because when I was a young supervisor, 20 years old, I had a guy working for me who was a senior in college. And guess what? He graduated in accounting, was hired by UPS, became an accounting supervisor, then he became the accounting manager. Then I graduated because I was behind him about 3 years. And guess what? A couple of years later, I was reporting to him because he was the accounting manager and I was the accounting supervisor at the time. Okay? Don't burn your bridges. You just never know what corner you're going to come around and meet into somebody again. Keep your cool. Don't be hot-headed. If something goes wrong, your employees are looking for stability. They look, when crazy things are happening, they're looking for your stability. So keep your cool. Another one, be aware of relationships. And this is valuable. When you get, and this becomes more and more important the higher you go in an organization, being aware of relationships. Because a lot of stuff happens over the coffee cup. I used to go to the corporate office at UPS once in a while, and you'd see a lot of the upper management people in the coffee. It seems like they spent all their time in the lunchroom. But they were working because everybody met in the lunchroom. Why is that? I'll give you a really good reason. Let's say you had to have a conversation with somebody, one of your peers, and it could possibly go wrong. Where is the worst place to be if a meeting goes sour and you want it to end? Where is the worst place for you to be at that point? In your office. You have no place to go. So a lot of these meetings they occur in a third-party location, and many times it's a lunchroom. So, but beware of those relationships. Let your work speak for itself. You got your opportunity because of something you've done in the past. Let your work keep speaking for you. Here's one that you don't see too often. I believe in two-tiered management level relationships. I can explain this by example. Let's say I have some people that report to me, and they have people reporting to them. My first read on what's going on in their group is what they tell me. I challenge you here. You have a responsibility to keep tabs on what's going on around you, but getting it through the experience of being with the people down the step of where your person is reporting to you. So the people that report to the people that report to you, you need to know them. So one of the ways to do this, I do what's called management by walking around. Walk around. Look at the faces. Have some small talk with people that are in your bigger group area. You can get a lot of information that way. Now, the person that reports to you knows you're doing it. He sees you walking around. That's okay. And he knows why you're doing it. It just gives you the best picture of what's happening in your work group. Okay? Give credit, take the blame. That's a relatively easy one, right? We as leaders are responsible for what goes on our watch. Take the responsibility. Okay. Here's one. This is a phrase that I picked up from a guy I reported to at UPS when I was a supervisor. If anybody came and complained to him about something, many times his response back was, sounds like a management problem to me. In other words, not taking responsibilities. So before you go, and there's nothing wrong, if something's wrong and you need to talk with somebody, get some advice, that's fine. But if you're going to talk to somebody to complain about somebody else, make sure you've done whatever you can to diffuse the issue, right? If you can't, get some help. But I've seen people go to the upper management people before they even tried to fix a problem themselves. And you don't want that reputation, okay? Well, I'm going to end this one now too, because I've still got some more things I want to give you, but this video has gotten to be this length. So I'm going to come back with round 3 in a few minutes. Nice talking with you. See you in the next one.